Hello everyone and welcome to Friday's edition of my Week in the Life project. I'm just going to show you here some of the things that I want to work with today. So I've got some ephemera and some papers from Cocoa Vanilla Studio Heart and Home collection, and then I've got some stamps that I'm going to work with as well. So I've taken this paper from this is one of the pattern papers from that collection from Cocoa Vanilla Studio, and I'm going to use this to write my title on the right hand page with that typewriter font stamp. I believe I got that from The Works. I really love it. It's a really lovely letter stamp. It's the perfect size. I find they're either too big or too small, but I love this one. I've also then used a border stamp just to go along the rest of that right hand side of that page. I'm taking a different border stamp and I'm doing that directly onto the left hand page, which is that blue pattern paper colour that I'm going to be working with today. I have had a cold and I've tried to put off doing this voiceover for as long as I could, but unfortunately I've run out of time. This needs to be uploaded tomorrow, so I have to film it. So if I sound a bit croaky, I'm sorry about that. A couple of days ago I had no voice at all, and I was starting to get a bit worried because I had a lot of voiceovers to do. So yeah, hopefully I'm not too croaky and it's not too off-putting. So I know that on the third page I want to carry on with what I've been doing on the first two, so I've taken another pattern paper from that collection, this beautiful floral, and I added another border along that page as well. I've never used these border stamps before. I can't remember where I got them from, but they're beautiful, so I'm definitely going to try and use them a bit more. My goal today was to make every photo a flip out, a tip in. So what I plan to do is back all of my photos with some of the pattern paper from the Cocoa Vanilla collection, and then have my journaling hidden underneath. So you can see what I'm doing here. I like to make my tip-ins with vellum because it's a really unobtrusive way of attaching them to your page. And then yes, each photo will be backed with a pattern paper, as you can see here, and then I've got the space behind it to add my journaling. So I did draw a fine pencil line around each photo just so I knew where to add the journaling for that particular photo, and I do have some things peeking out from behind the photos so you can tell it's a tip-in, but all of the journaling side of things is all hidden behind the photos, which I quite like. Sometimes I like a bit of hidden journaling, so if somebody was to look through my books, it's not immediately obvious what I have written. Nothing that I'm writing about today is personal. Again, with the Week in the Life project, these are all quite mundane, everyday things that I'm journaling about. So for example, the first picture is me and Theo waking up at 7 o'clock, and then it's a picture of me doing his hair, a picture of Theo and his nanny playing Hungry Hungry Hippos, Theo running, my Tesco shop, and yeah, just various everyday things that happen on a Friday. So yeah, it's not like I want to hide any of this journaling, but it's quite nice to have it a bit more hidden away on the page sometimes, if that makes sense. So I've been going through a few different things of what I'm going to use to decorate the underside of the photos. One of the Cocoa Vanilla Studio papers was this cutout sheet, and I make a good use of this. So I've trimmed all of those pieces out and I'm going to use a lot of them on these pages. As you can see, it's a very contemporary one for me today, not really any vintage things, apart from I do add some flowers that are a bit more vintage, some flower stickers, but sometimes it's nice to do a bit more of contemporary journaling where I just stick and plonk all the scrapbook things. It makes it quite easy for me to do. So yeah, I've got that first photo of when me and Theo have gotten up and we're watching some telly, and I've got a little label from my stash, and then I've stuck one of those cutout parts from that paper I was talking about, that has a little pumpkin as a vase on it, and then a little word strip that says together is better, and that's that one done. working on the next one, I add this photo frame style piece. This actually came from a really old Cocoa Vanilla collection that was in my stash for ages, so I was happy to use that, and it's a nice area for me to just add my journaling. Down working on the bottom right hand page, I've added another label from my stash. So I've got a bag of labels, frames and journaling pieces, and I've made a really good dent in that from my Use It Up box. So I was really happy with that. So I'm kind of mixing that with the pieces from the collection, from the Heart and Home collection. You can see these flowers here, they look like pressed flowers. These are some clear stickers, and they add a bit more of a vintage feel because they are sort of sepia toned. So I've got all of my things stuck down here, all of the pieces that I want stuck behind all of my photos, and I'm really liking how it looks. Actually, I think it's different. I then decided I wanted more stamping. I've been very into stamping at the minute, and in true Ellen fashion, I didn't think about this before I stuck everything down. So I'm using a piece of card there just to block off anything that the stamp's going to go over. I do this all the time. I think because I finish a page and then I decide that I want sprinkly bits, I call them. So this stamp here is like a cross stamp. It's got like loads of crosses on it, and I like to have something like that on my page. So I'll either sort of doodle some hearts or dots, or add some paint splatters sometimes. I can't stand too much blank space, and it's a really easy way of filling up that blank space. So it wasn't until I finished the page that I decided I needed more sprinkly bits. I hope that's making sense to other people. Please let me know if you do the same thing. Just personally, I like busy. I have loads of photos, I have loads of ephemera, and I want it to be really interesting. And yeah, it always ends up being really busy. I've seen some beautiful pages where they're a lot more reserved with adding things, shall we say, and they look beautiful, but it's just not my style. I like busy and I like sprinkly things added to my page. So I'm working on my final page here. This was the night time of a Friday evening. And one of these pictures here is because I decided to re-pierce my lip. I took my lip piercing out when I found out I was pregnant with Theo. I kind of went through this stage of feeling like I needed to dress more like a mum and look more like a mum. So I started wearing floral dresses. I took my piercing out. I tried to be a bit more girly and mumsy. And then just recently, I've been finding my own style again, and I tried to get my lip re-pierced at the place that did it, and because it wasn't fully healed, they didn't want to do it, so I did it myself, and it was horrible, but I'm glad I did it. So that's what that photo is at the top. And I've got a photo of me playing The Sims, and a photo of what I call my bedtime snack, so my medication that I take every night, which is growing by the month at the moment. I have a lot of health issues, so yeah, that's what that's from. And yeah, I feel like I haven't spoken too much about the page today. I've been rambling, but those are my pages finished, and I hope you enjoyed a bit more of a pretty easy contemporary one with lots of flip outs. So join me tomorrow for the last video in my Week in the Life project.